Did you just read Aquatic and Beachy Fragrances? Yes, you did. I do love some Aquatic and Beachy Fragrances. I don't hate all of them. It's just the ones that I hate usually have tons of Calone, the note in there, and whatever that note is amplified in a fragrance, it turns me off. But there's 25 fragrances here with one honorable mention, just in time for summer. So this is my 25 favorite Aquatic and Beachy fragrances. Coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. I'm gonna get right to this video because there's 25, actually 26 fragrances, so it's gonna be longer than normal. But summer's around the corner and this is Memorial Day weekend and we start going to the beaches and things like that. So this video will be 25 Aquatic and Beachy fragrances. We have designer fragrances in here, we have niche fragrances in here, and we also have indie fragrances, indie niche fragrances. But there's 25, and I do have one honorable mention, and I'm gonna leave that to the climax. So you're gonna hear about that honorable mention towards the very end. But let's go ahead and get right to it. I'm gonna start things off right away with one fragrance from the house of Frederic Malle called Outrageous, this right here. Now this is not typically an aquatic fragrance, but it acts like an aquatic fragrance. It has a pretty dominant ambroxan note, and the ambroxan note is acting sort of like aquatic ambergris, things like that. But it's inspired by Brazilian cocktails or sipping caipirinha cocktails on the water or on the coast of Rio, I think, somewhere in Brazil. But it's a truly delicious fragrance, and the sugariness in here comes off. You can actually experience the crystals, the sugar crystals in here, because they use, I think they use sugar in the caipirinha cocktail. But it's got this sweetness to it, it's got this like saltiness to it, and fruitiness. So it's just a truly beautiful fragrance, perfect for summer heat waves. So this is Outrageous by Frederic Malle. Next up, we're going to talk to you about a fragrance from the house of Jo Malone. Again, it's not your traditional, typical aquatic fragrance, but this is one that I really, really love. It's got the saltiness to it. It's called Wood, Sage, and Sea Salt by Jo Malone. I do have a review for it if you want to look it up. But this one I like because of that saltiness and this bright, glistening, crystal-y, kind of shiny, effervescent vibe that it has. Just a wonderful fragrance. It's very, very... this is one of my compliment getter fragrances. I think I featured it in that video, but it's just a crowd pleaser. It's a pleasant fragrance, and from the folks at Neiman Marcus and the stores that I frequent that sells Jo Malone always say that this is probably one of their biggest sellers in the store. So it's universally loved. It's a great scent. You can pick up the herbal notes of the sage, and you pick up the woody notes, and then there's that salt, the sea salt note in here that kind of gives it the aquatic vibe. So check it out if you don't know it. It's Wood, Sage, and Sea Salt by Jo Malone. Next up, we're going to the house of Creed, and we wanted to feature one Creed in here. It was a toss-up between two fragrances, but I ended up with this one. This one's more of a beachy fragrance rather than an aquatic, but this is Virgin Island Water. Everybody knows this one, and this is just as like a happy fragrance. It's an ultra happy fragrance with to me it smells like pina colada. It's got a big coconut and lime note in here. It kind of comes off a bit like suntan lotion, but it's got the citrus notes. It just smells really truly happy. Like it's just a very fun fragrance, and one to wear when you just want to be uplifted when you're down, or you just want to feel like you're in an island getaway or an island vacation. So Virgin Island Water by Creed is another one. We're going to the house of M. Michelob now that I rarely talk about. I do have a review for one of their fragrances on the channel, Gaillac. But this time, this is Osato, this one right here. This is a very, very unique fragrance. It's salty, it's got marine notes in it, but it's also very herbal, and it has myrtle as a note, the myrtle flower. So if you don't know myrtle flower, in Italian it's MIRTO. So there's also a fragrance by ACQUA de Parma called MIRTO da PANAREA, which kind of seems aquatic to me as well. But this one here is definitely aquatic. It's salty, it's marine, but lots of herbal, like floral green notes from the MIRTO or the myrtle note. It's one of a kind fragrance. It's the kind of aquatic fragrance that I like, where it's not overly aquatic, it's not overly fishy. and it smells really, really wonderful. It's a brand that nobody speaks about, but it's truly a great brand. M. Micheloff from the south of France, and this is Oseto. Speaking of Acqua di Parma, I definitely wanted to include MIRTO de PANAREA in this video. This is it right here. I have 2 bottles of it, one in the old bottle, one in the new, so I decided to feature the new bottle in here. But again, this is that myrtle flower. It has some salty sea notes in it, but this compared to this, it's night and day, but still kind of the same dominant note of the myrtle flower is in here. For a long time was my favorite Acqua di Parma Blue Collection fragrance, the Mediterranean collection, and they all kind of focus on some flower or something to do with the Mediterranean, the water, the plants, the herbs, the natural habitat of the Mediterranean, which I love because I'm from the Mediterranean and I tend to cling to those types of fragrances. But this is really unique. It's not overly aquatic. In fact, it's hardly aquatic, but there are touches of it. Check it out. MIRTO de PANAREA is another one. Next up, we're going to the indie house of GALLAGHER Fragrances, and this is Amongst Waves, this one right here. Now this is truly one of a kind aquatic fragrance, and it's ultra beast mode. Not beast mode, but ultra beast mode. So if you want a potent fragrance, GALLAGHER fragrances tend to be really, really beast mode. This one is a unique aquatic fragrance again. It's very candy-like. It's almost, to me, like saltwater taffy. Is that what it is? So it's salty taffy, kind of, because it's fruity, it's bright, it's big, it's almost candy-like. Plus it's got the aquatic salty notes in it, makes it a unique fragrance experience. Just beast mode though, as I said, ultra beast mode. So go easy on the sprays here because it lasts. I don't use this one very frequently because I spray a lot of fragrances on at home. So when I need to wear something and I want to wear this one, it's just one spray. It's that strong. So GALLAGHER Fragrances Amongst Waves is another one. Going to another indie house, since GALLAGHER Fragrances is an indie house, we're going to Imaginary Authors, and this is Falling into the Sea. Now this one's a unique experience, I should say aquatic fragrance experience. What I like about this is the lychee note, and it's got this fruity vibe. And it just has this like underlying saltiness and sea-like. There's also a sand kind of note in here, which actually is very, very unique. So it's kind of beachy, it's kind of aquatic and fruity, almost like you're sitting in the sand or laying in the sand and having like a fruity cocktail without the booziness. So it's kind of a virgin cocktail, if that makes sense. But this is a really, really fun fragrance. Very, very happy again. It's almost like I said, you're at the beach, but not necessarily an adult beach. It's a kid's beach. So this is Falling into the Sea. Really nice aquatic fruity fragrance from Imaginary Authors. Next we're going to the house of TIZIANA Terenzi, and this is FOCONERO, this one right here. Now this is a very, very salty aquatic fragrance, whereas it's not overly aquatic but very salty. So the salt note in here is pretty amped up. Marine notes are kind of toned down, but they're there. So there's also like this aromatic, herbal, and unique woody kind of notes in here. Maybe some floral notes as well. But you gotta love salty fragrances to enjoy this one, FOCONERO. And it was a challenge for me. All these fragrances were a challenge for me at first because I just didn't like aquatic fragrances much. But they've been growing on me more and more lately, and this one's a very, very unique one. It's also one that's actually crowd pleaser, so people tend to like this one on me. So check out FOCONERO. Next, we're going to the house of FLORIS, and this is a very, very unique aquatic fragrance, and this is called BERGAMOTTO di POSITANO. So it's bergamot, it's aquatic, it's also candy, not candy, like cookies, like baked yummy goodies. So it's very sweet in the background, but there's a saltiness, salty air, like marine air. It's basically having, there's also a tea note in here, which I forgot to mention. So it's like you're in Positano, you're sitting on the balcony and having, sipping on tea with cookies, and you have the marine and the air and all that in the background. Very, very lovely fragrance. And from what I hear, Meghan Markle was wearing this as her scent of the day at her wedding in England recently. So that's pretty amazing that she wore this. I don't know if this is true or not, but most likely it is because I found all these different information and things like that. So check it out, Bergamotto di Positano from Floris. There's a staple in the collection that I recently spoke about called Acqua di Gio, and this is this right here. This is an aquatic classic that I've worn quite a bit of, but my favorite currently is the Profumo. But if you don't know these, you probably don't know fragrance, because everybody knows these fragrances. This is probably one of the most popular men's releases ever. But if you like the designer aquatic fragrances, these are definitely ones to try. Unfortunately, I didn't include Cool Water here because it was never a big favorite of mine. But this used to be a really big favorite of mine, but now it's taken over by this one. So this one, I'm sure you know about it, but if you don't know about it, it's aquatic, marine notes, and there's also incense, patchouli. I like the darkness of this one. This one's just a bright and easygoing aquatic fragrance. So Acqua di Gio collection from Armani. Everyone knows this cheapie from Nautica. It's Nautica Voyage or Voyage right here. And this is definitely aquatic, definitely salty, but not fishy at all. It's fruity, in fact. Green apple note in here adds this like a crispy, crunchy kind of an element to the fragrance. If you like crispy fragrances or crisp fragrances, this is one to try. It's definitely aquatic though. There's a saltiness there, but that apple kind of brightens things up and makes it very, very unique for me compared to just being fishy aquatic. Very cheap. You can find these for deals, and I just wanted to include it in there just because everybody knows this one. So this is Nautica Voyage. And another designer that I want to include, there won't be any design, oh, there are a few more designers in here. This is CK2. I recently picked up another one, and this I find to be a great gym scent. And the other one is also a very good gym scent, is this one, Acqua di Gio, the original. But this one I like because it's ozonic, aquatic with rose. It's watery. So you've got both aquatic, like marine kind of aquatic, plus water, like ozonic, all that good stuff in here. And it's just lovely. There's this brightness to it too. It's too bad I don't think it did very well for Calvin Klein, but this is one of my favorites currently. So that is CK2. Next up, we're going to the house of Jacques FATH, and I'm gonna have two fragrances in this collection, two different, completely different fragrances launched at the same time. So this first one is Curacao Bay right here, this one. And this is all about frangipani flower with marine notes. So it's white flowers, kind of comes off a bit like a combo of jasmine, tuberose, and gardenia. That's how frangipani kind of smells. Very creamy. The frangipani acts very creamy, but very delicious. And of course, the marine note in here kind of like gives it this refreshing boost to it. It's not overly fishy or it's not overly aquatic, just the right amount, because the frangipani flower is the more dominant note here. Truly beautiful, and that juice color is just gorgeous, as you can see. Next, another aquatic that was launched at the same time. This one focuses on the fig leaf, and this is Vers le Sud, this one right here. So if you like fig fragrances and you like, oh, one more thing before I move on to the fig one. Curacao Bay, of course, is inspired by Brazil, I think. It definitely sounds like it would be similar to the Outrages from FREDERIC MALLE. But this is inspired by the Mediterranean coast where fig trees grow. And of course, it's right on the Mediterranean with the sea and all that good stuff. I really love this. It smells definitely like the sea and the fig leaf together. Like you have a fusion of both. Sea air, sea water, and the fig. I have to give this one a credit because I love fig fragrances so much and I didn't like aquatic fragrances too much. This is one of the fragrances that helped me kind of open up to the aquatic fragrances. So if you have a resistance to them as well, check this one out. Maybe they'll do you as well. I mean, help you out. So Vers le Sud, a combo of fig and marine notes from Jacques FATH. Really, really good fragrance. Next, we're going to the house of I Profumi di FIRENZE, and this is BREZZA di Mare, this one right here. I love this fragrance. Smells just like the sea. Plus, the coconutty vibe, like the suntan lotion and all that kind of stuff combined with it. So it's the best of aquatic and also beachy smell. So this is an aquatic and beachy at the same time. And I love that about it. It's just a great, great release from the house of I Profumi di FIRENZE. And BREZZA di Mare, I think it means the breeze of the sea. I think sea breeze, something like that. I think that's what it is. If you're Italian and you know, let me know. Please correct me down in the comments section. But this brand is so great. I have it on me right now and I'm smelling it. It's just a lovely, lovely scent. It's cozy as well. The coconutty vibe. I don't even know if there's any coconut, but I get a big dose of coconutty vanillic vibe, and if that's the case, it gives it a cozy vibe. So being cozy at the sea, what's not to like about that? So that's exactly what I get with BREZZA di Mare from I Profumi di Firenze. So check that one out as well. Next, we're going to the house of Kerosene, and this is the latest of the Kerosene fragrances called Walk the Sea. This one right here. Now this is a complete different kind of an aquatic fragrance. To me, this is a very dark aquatic fragrance. What I like about this one, because it's got the darker elements to it, it's unique that way. It's not like this fun and fancy-free kind of a vacation. It's a little bit on the dark side. It's a more gothic kind of a beachy scent. If you're into the darker scents and you like the idea of aquatic fragrances, this is one to definitely try. It's got floral notes in it, salty marine notes, but there's this darkness in there that's kind of weighing it down, which I like in the fragrance, because everything else that I'm talking about here is ultra happy and fun, but this is kind of dark. So if I'm in a dark mood, or if I want a dark fragrance that's aquatic, this is the one to try. Walk the Sea by Kerosene. Next, we're going to the house of Art de Parfum, and this is Sea Foam. I love this sea foam. It is such a big, bright, sunshiny aquatic that has lots of green notes. When I first met Ruta from Art de Parfum, I sampled the fragrances. This didn't appeal to me much, but I kept coming to it over and over and over again because there's something green in here. I think like green herbal notes that kind of like gives it this like unique boost of energy that I typically don't associate with like just straight out aquatic fragrances. This is really, really great. If you don't know this brand, check it out. If you like aquatic fragrances that are green, herbal, almost aromatic, this is the one to try. Sea Foam from Art de Parfum. So next we're going to two fragrances from the house of Maison Margiela. First one is Sailing Day, this one right here. Lovely, lovely color of this juice. And the other one is Beach Walk. Two completely different aquatic fragrances, and I love both of them. Whereas Sailing Day has this really unique patchouli and aquatic touch to it. Not necessarily like Armani's Acqua di Gio Profumo or anything like that, but just a bright, big patchouli and greenish kind of notes, floral notes, and of course herbal notes with that sea breeze and herbal marine touches of the fragrance. I really love this actually. I really, really do enjoy wearing it, and I get compliments with this one as well. People tend to like this one on me. As you can see, I've been wearing a lot. It's not a very strong fragrance. It is eau de toilette, so I do spray a lot more, and then people tend to gravitate towards me to ask me what I'm wearing. So Sailing Day by Maison Margiela. And then Beach Walk. This is really, really unique fragrance. It smells like beachy skin. So if you're at the beach and you've been dipping into the sea, you know, getting sand all over you, and you've got like maybe perhaps a bit of like suntan lotion on, it is that smell captured in here as a fragrance. Really, really unique. I love that about it. It is a bit coconutty because of the coconut, like the lotion, the suntan lotion, but really, really fun fragrance, and I love the inspiration. I absolutely love the inspiration for this one because of that skin. So anyway, Beach Walk by Maison Margiela. And speaking of Beach Walk from Maison Margiela, we have a fragrance called from the house called Nativa that I recently did a video for, and their fragrance Jamaica is absolutely one of my favorite fragrances from that collection of fragrances I reviewed. And what I like about this is because it's just the beach captured in a bottle. Now people say it's similar to this. I do find similarities, but this one actually is more reserved as far as the smell goes, and this one actually is louder. Like it spreads more, it projects more. So I kind of prefer this one, even though this has this coziness because it's a more of a personal fragrance where it's, you know, it's inspired by the skin, so it's kind of like a skin scent. But this one, the projection is out of this world, and I love that about it. And it's really, really delicious. It's like beach in a bottle. Nativa's Jamaica, check it out. We're going with a fragrance that's very, very popular on YouTube recently, and this is Pacific Rock Moss from Goldfield and Banks. This had to be on here. This is another one of those fragrances that really, really I enjoy a lot because it's one that actually opened up the gates of enjoying aquatic fragrances. But this is not your typical aquatic fragrance again. It's very bright and happy. It's not overly aquatic. It's not overly beachy. It's just a right balance of all of those things. There's a pretty fair dose of coconutty vibe in here as well. So you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the aquatic world and you've got the beachy world, all captured into a beautiful and sexy fragrance that I really, really love. So this is Pacific Rock Moss from indie niche house called Goldfield and Banks from Australia. Next, we're going to the house of Montal. Montal and aquatics? Yes, they have some aquatics. This is Fougere's Marines. This is really a unique fragrance. If you like your idea of a fougere, which I absolutely love, you know that about me, and I'm sure some of you guys know like that as well. But with a marine touch, this is a very unique concoction from Montal. Very different than what they are known for, but it's fougere and salty marine notes together with a one-of-a-kind fragrance. I love this one, absolutely love it, and I'm glad I have it in the collection. And if you're looking for that unique aquatic fragrance, a unique marine fragrance, or unique fougere fragrance, one to try by Montal is Fougere's Marines. Next, I have a fragrance from a house that's rarely spoken about in the fragrance community. It's a house called Taus from Spain, and this is Taus Man Sport, this right here. Now, this is not a traditional aquatic as well. It's more aldehydic, but it actually acts a bit like aquatic, but it's very clean for an aquatic. It doesn't smell fishy at all. It doesn't smell like the sea, but just a little bit hints of like marine type notes are in there, but overly clean. Like this is a really classy, clean fragrance for men that I also wanted to feature. Now, if you don't know this brand, check it out. I do have a review of one of their latest fragrances on the channel. I'll link to it, but this is Taus Man Sport. Next, we're going to the house of Molten Brown. This is the fragrance Coastal, Cypress, and Sea Fennel, this right here. Another one that I've been wearing a lot of, overspraying, and it's aquatic, it's marine, but it's also very green and woody. Like you've got sea fennel, you've got the cypress, so woody notes, but you've got that air of the sea air. This one I don't necessarily consider a beachy fragrance. It's more aquatic rather than beachy, which is fine because that's what this list is about, aquatic and beachy fragrances, but very green and woody with that beautiful marine or sea air. Very one of a kind, absolutely love it. And these are not that expensive. They're around $75 for a 50 ml bottle. So it's not a bad price for niche fragrances, but they are eau de toilette, so the longevity is not the best. And I did use up a lot of this, so check it out. Last but not least, my favorite out of all of these, plus we're gonna get the honorable mention as well. This is a brand new one from the house of L'Artisan Parfumé, and this is Un Air de Bretagne, this one right here. I'm head over heels for this aquatic fragrance. Absolute love for this one. It smells gorgeous. It is the air of Brittany. Brittany is a part of France that I have not traveled too much, except for the southern part, a city called Saint-Malo. I've been there and I loved it, but we didn't go up further north where the capital of Brittany is. But this is all on the coast, Brittany. So this actually captures the air and puts it in a fragrance. But what I find unique about this particular aquatic fragrance than other aquatic fragrances, here's the lemony touch. There's this big, juicy, slightly tart but sweet citrusy touch with the aquatic touches. So gives it this most unique kind of a type of a fragrance to me, and that's why I'm putting it at #1, even though I didn't put these at any numbers. I just find this one to be really awesome. For me, it's awesome. You might find some of these other ones more awesome or appropriate to you, but this one is an underrated one that people don't talk about. Un Air Bretagne, amazing. Check it out. If you like citrusy fragrances and aquatic fragrances together, absolute love for this one. It's from L'Artisan Parfumé. So now that you're done with your aquatic fragrances or beachy fragrances, you want to get a little cozy with your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, husband, wife, whoever, whatever. You want to try some Sex and the Sea from Francesca Bianchi. Now this is not your typical beachy fragrance or aquatic fragrance. It's more beachy rather than aquatic, but this is kind of like a beast mode beachy. It has ambergris and some salty notes in it with a lot of different oriental and ambery kind of notes. It's typical, I mean, it smells beachy. It smells like a bit suntan lotiony, but this is more related to like the beast mode-ish kind of a fragrance of Francesca Bianchi's The Dark Side and Under My Skin. But wow, absolutely love this one. This is the climax. This is when you're getting together with your loved one and you're going to have sex and you're going to wear something. Maybe at the beach you're going to have sex with them and, you know, have a great old rollicking time rolling around in the sand. But wow, Sex and the Sea. I'm going to really enjoy this one. I will hopefully do a review of it as well coming up very soon. But if you don't know about Sex and the Sea, check it out. Guys, what are your thoughts about these fragrances? Do you know them? Do you have them? Do you wish to have them? Just let me know. Put some comments down and let's get a conversation started. Also, are you like me or I used to be, hated aquatic fragrances? Please let me know. And why do you hate aquatic fragrances if you don't love aquatic fragrances? Let me know if you are absolutely into aquatic fragrances. I want to find out why you like aquatic fragrances. And if I've missed anything, please put it in the comment section so that I can check it out in the future. But thanks so much for watching this video. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Happy summertime around the corner. Enjoy your time at the beaches and the swimming pools and all that kind of stuff, and enjoying the hot summer days, and hopefully you'll put these fragrances to use. Also, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.